Welcome to the Fantasy Baseball Camp. This is episode 15, and today we get into the drop-o-meter. Tommy, what do we mean by drop-o-meter?
Dropper meter, meaning a rating 1 through 10. 1 meaning I'm not worried about them all. You can keep them, start them, must start, whatever it may be. 10 being this guy's useless. He needs to go. He shouldn't be on an LB roster. Send him into the sun. And then everywhere in between, 5 or so being you can roster them, but they're going to be on your bench. You're not really doing much with them. So there's a sliding scale to kind of calibrate it from episode to episode. But in general, that's the drop-o-meter.
Yeah, level of concern with the player, and that 1 through 10 there. Other than that, how you doing tonight, Tommy?
I'm good. Trying to figure out what I should do. But we have a guy on the drop-o-meter that I just recently dropped, so you probably know where my advice is going to go on this one.
Yeah, I got one too.
I've got a guy still on my roster being mentioned. But again, this is not guys who should be dropped. This is a discussion about if they should be dropped. So, you guys just want to get right into it then. How about this first guy? Edward Cabrera.
Can
you give me his stat line, Tommy?
Why'd you have to do that to me?
I got you.
You got it, Wes?
Yeah.
Edward Cabrera of the Miami Marlins was being offered for Nolan Arenado as a stud young pitcher at one point in our league. Didn't quite work out in that trade.
He's got 40 innings, 9 games, 3 wins, 3 losses, 5.13 ERA and a 1.59 WHIP. That WHIP is really high. He's actually got really good strikeout.
Did you say a 4-point-something WHIP?
1.59.
Oh,
yeah.
He's got 55 strikeouts over 40 innings, and he's got electric stuff. His stuff has movement. His fastball's fast. His savant page is red for the most part of most things, except for his walks. He's like first and second percentile. He has no idea what the ball is going, which is super frustrating because his stuff's good. He's a really good pitcher. But if he's walking 3, 4, sometimes 5 guys a game on average, you can't do anything with that. He's not going to win games. He's not going to get counting stats. His ratios are going to be off. And I actually recently just dropped him. That's who I was talking about. I've held on to him week after week. He was part of a trade that I got. He wasn't part of the reason I traded. He was just a throw-in piece that I was kind of a high upside on. And he hasn't shown me enough for the last couple of weeks. And some of these prospects, Bybee, Miller, Allen, I'd much rather roster those guys than Abreu. And I had an injury where I had to make a choice of what I wanted to do. And I dropped Abreu to foster my injury. So I don't think he's a 10 in all cases to be dropped. I think he still has upside where you could roster him. But in my case, I had to drop him. I'd probably put him like a 7 or 8. And part of the logic I had behind that, I was talking to Wes about this the other night. He has a 2-start week coming up. I had no confidence I could start him in a 2-start week. And especially in a points league, if you can't start a guy in a 2-start week, why is he on your team?
Right.
So that was another
2-start. If he has 2 starts, that means almost he's a must start. And it worked out because he left his last start early with a blister, and those blisters will linger. So he could be out for 2 weeks to finally let it heal, and they always come back.
Yeah, I couldn't start him for a 2-start week. He wasn't worth the roster spot. I had other priorities I needed. So
yeah, I wouldn't say he's a must drop if you have him on your team. He had a good week 2 and week 3 and week 4, where he's averaged about 20 points. He must have been facing maybe the A's and the Royals.
Yeah, his last start where he was good, he was facing the Nationals.
But oh my gosh, like you said, the walks are just out of control, and you never know. Walks can just blow up your game. So he's a guy that can't be trusted. Watch the matchups. So that's probably, I'd agree with you, Tommy, like a 7-8. If you don't have anything better, he can't be trusted. But if the matchup's good, he's worth an ad.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to roster him in a 10-team league. A 12-team, there's some upside. 15, you can probably hold on to him. But other than that, goodbye.
Yeah, Tommy or Wes, you on the same page?
Yeah, I'm with you guys there. I would say I love his stuff, and even if he walked like 4 per 9, like I would probably have interest in him, but 6, almost 7 per 9 is just absurd. So
Can't do anything with that.
if he
Okay.
ever drops below that 5 line to maybe 4.5 walks per 9, like I'd have real interest in him.
Now, how about this guy? Who would you rather have? Noah Syndergaard or Edward Cabrera? Noah Syndergaard only has 5 walks in 36 innings.
Syndergaard for no other reason than he plays for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, the dude has not scored more than 12 points.
I know that's the whole point of the segment is to drop a meter and figure out who you should keep, who you should drop. Can neither of them be an acceptable answer? I mean, he doesn't walk people. He's the exact opposite of Edward Cabrera. His stuff's not very good. He just doesn't walk people.
Well, if that's the two that your best option, how about this? So then let's add in a third. Martin Perez, Edward, and Syndergaard. Rate those 3.
Yeah, Martin Perez is the top for me. That's an easy one.
Yeah, same.
The other 2 tied for third. There is no second place. There is no second place.
Yeah, I think Perez is at least trustworthy. I don't trust Cabrera whatsoever. I don't necessarily trust Syndergaard either. But the Dodgers might score a lot of runs and get him a win in a day that he goes 6 innings, gives up 4 runs and 8 hits, and he scores you 8 points. So
yeah, Perez hasn't been good the last 2 starts, but other than that, he's been very fine, been serviceable. He was a quality start machine last year. He's not quite the same force he was last year this year, but
last year was an outlier.
Easily, well, for
Look
sure.
at the rest of his career, and he had a high 4.5 ERA, and last year all of a sudden he had a 2.89. Don't know if that was a contract year kind of thing, or maybe that was his first year in Texas, so maybe he was comfortable. Fine. Oh no, he'd been in Texas to start his career. Yeah. Went to Minnesota, to Boston, back to Texas. But hey, quality start machine last year, so he's got the history of it. Syndergaard, it's been half a decade since he's had the success as a starter, being healthy.
Maybe Syndergaard should go to the bullpen.
I think he's close to it. I mean, if he can throw as hard as he can with that kind of movement, he would be a shutout closer. Yeah, I agree there.
I don't know. His average fastball has been, 91 maybe?
Really? I did not realize that. I thought he still threw 97 with that 2-seamer that moved halfway across the plate.
No.
He hasn't thrown 97 in a long time.
There was an episode I went on a rant about dropping Syndergaard because his average fastball in the last 4 years has gone from 97. Post Tommy John, it was like 94, and then 92, and then last year was 91.5, and this year he was barely averaging above 90.
Oof. Above 9, that's Kyle Hendricks type of stuff right there. You just gotta literally pick the contract. Pick the contact.
Like Kyle Hendricks is the exact pitcher that he is right now.
And he probably doesn't pitch to that type of game.
No.
Someone needs to sit him down, put their arm over his shoulder and say, Noah, you're not the pitcher you used to be, man. You have to pitch to soft contact.
There was reports that came up preseason about he was focusing on his increased velocity.
So does Syndergaard rate with the same weight of Edward Cabrera, 7.8, or is Noah worse?
I would give Cabrera an 8 and Syndergaard a 7.
So you like Syndergaard better
than Cabrera? Yeah.
But not by much.
I might be flip-flopped there. I like Cabrera.
I think I'm higher in Cabrera than I'm Syndergaard, only for the fact that if he figures out how to throw a strike with his fastball, he's going to be an excellent pitcher.
I mean, that was Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright was a walk machine, and then last year he figured it out.
We'll see, but not on my team.
Mackenzie Gore, same type of deal. Walk machine, but had the pedigree. So, okay. Another guy I wanted to list, Blake Snell. Blake Snell of the San Diego Padres. He is probably more widely owned than those guys. He's rostered in 92, but he's only being started in 59. So this is probably a good guy for us to discuss. Is he worth benching, or is he even worth dropping at the point that you're not going to trust him? So just to pause there, I turned the Cardinals-Dodgers on when it was 9-8. Wilson Contreras just hit a 3-run home run after they scored a run, so they just went up 4 more runs. It's 14-8.
Jeez.
So Urias is getting that loss. So anyways, now back to your regular scheduled programming. Blake Snell. The guy only has 51 points, 4.61 ERA, 1.54 whip, and he has nearly his hits, walks, strikeouts is 38, 25, 43 in 41 innings.
My only thing with Blake Snell, and out of the 3 of those, if we want to add to the list of Syndergaard, Cabrera, and Snell, I'm holding on to Snell just because he's a former Cy Young winner, and last year he did the same thing. He sucked for the first half, he's good for the second. I understand if you don't have a roster spot for him, you need to drop him. I'm all for it because we had the same conversation a month ago when he wasn't good. He's still not any good. That he may be better later, and every start that goes by, he's not any better. He's not striking guys out he's league average strikeouts, horrible walk rates. He's up there with not quite as bad as Ed Cabrera, but he's up there.
Look at Blake Snell's career line. He's never been good except that Cy Young year. Every other year has been poo-poo.
When he went Cy Young, 19?
18.
18?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Look at the next year. 23 starts, 6-8. The K rate was there.
22 was pretty good overall when you factor in the second half. I don't know. He's a strikeout pitcher, but everything else, he's not even I don't think too many walks. I think he's too hittable. Well, he's not a strikeout pitcher this year. 23%. League average 22.
The thing with Snell is he gets himself into bad counts. Like he consistently gets himself into 2-0, 3-1 counts with his slider and not being able to locate his fastball. And it's like, well, you have to serve it up to him at that point in time. Like he can't throw his other pitches, his secondary pitches for strikes in any count. And so that gets him into like some bad situations, right? And
you know what I think's going on? That dude's playing way too much Call of Duty or Fortnite. Look at those look at those eyes. That dude looks tired. It looks like he's up till 4 a.m. and he's supposed to be at the field at 8. That Call of Duty, whatever he's playing, is wearing on him.
It's funny. Every photo you ever see of him is the exact same thing. And you're like, this dude's a hardcore gamer at home. I guarantee it.
Surprised he doesn't have his own G Fuel, all the gamers have their own G Fuel.
I mean,
so
the guy has a 90 percentile whiff rate. Like he's in the 90. Like it's just if he could literally stop walking people and get ahead in the count, like he would be fine.
Yeah, his whip is 1.54. So if you don't know what whip is, it's walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So he's giving up more than 1 walk and hit per inning. Closer to 2 if you're rounding 1.54. So yeah, if he could just stop the walks, that would bring the whip down. Probably be pitching to more soft contact instead of the strikeout so much. So where is he at on the drop-o-meter there, Wes? I didn't ask you, Tommy. I didn't ask you yet. Hold on.
That's why I was just giving hand motions. If you're on YouTube, you can see what I'm giving.
You're influencing Wesley here.
I would go 6.
See, no influence needed. I gave it 5.
So what do you mean? What's a 6 for you? You're still holding on to him?
I'm holding on to him. I'm keeping him on my bench. I'll probably start him for a 2-start week, depending on matchup. Like if he's got a 2-start week against the Braves and Tampa Bay Rays, like that's a tough 2-start week. But if he's got a 2-start week and one of the starts is Oakland and one of the starts is the Dodgers, then yeah, sure, I'm all in for that. But I find it hard to trust him in a single start week against a decent offense.
Right. And it's not like the Padres offense is helping him at this point
No.
either. You would think it would eventually. So that's why you don't. I think I'm in the same thing as you and Tommy, 5-6 range. You're not dropping him because one, he has the name, so that increases his trade value just a little bit. And then he's on the Padres, who are expected to be a powerhouse with their offense, with their pitching rotation. They're going to figure it out. And you hope that Snell's part of that figuring it out.
Yeah, I feel like their lineup is just too good.
Nolan Gorman just hit a 2-run home run. It's 16-8.
Hey,
I need that, baby.
The graphs are working, Tommy. And who was it? Estrada hit a single last night, scored a run.
Gorman's got 30 points, and it's Thursday. If I win this week, it's because of him. Ethan's gonna be so mad. He didn't even know Nolan Gorman was a week ago.
Who's Gorman? James Outman could have caught it. He could have caught it. I don't know what happened and why he didn't. It's like he looked down at the last second.
Can we talk about who I think is probably on everybody's mind, not a pitcher for a drop meter, and that's Jose Abreu. I think that's probably the number one position player. What do I do?
He was probably the most sought after position player, maybe in like the first. He was the first to sign, but quickly the most sought after free agent. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I hope you're not talking about fantasy.
No.
Yeah. I don't know the last time I've seen a slugging percentage lower than an on-base percentage.
And this is a guy who usually is hitting 300 and competing for that, and the dude is hitting the near the Mendoza line.
He and I have a lot in common. We have the same amount of home runs in Major League Baseball this year. 0.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, just everything he's doing. There nothing.
And you probably spent a pretty penny at the draft for this guy.
Yeah.
I went probably Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, Jose Abreu.
So the one thing I will give Jose Abreu is that his career numbers. So typically he starts slow. His career average.
It's May. It's May. It's almost May's almost over.
True. But his career is 253 in April, 271 in May, 287 in June, 293 in July, 334 in August. So he gets better as the season goes along. But at this point in time, I don't know that he could do anything to get himself to above 300. Like a 270 year at this point would be great. And his, I know we talked about it on the last episode. His weighted runs created plus right now is a 47, right? And league average is 100. I'm gonna go look up.
He's 50% worse than the league average player. The league average player is not a fantasy asset, and he's 50% worse than not a fantasy asset. If that's not
like first base is suddenly flooded with options. Like you don't have to.
I guess. So Jose Abreu, among qualified hitters, for weighted runs created plus, is second to last, and I will buy you a drink if you guess who number one is. He's an Oakland player. I'll give you a hint.
He's an Oakland player. He's the Oakland first baseman.
Tony Kemp is the worst.
I was going to say Matt Kemp. Tony Kemp. Yeah.
Michael Chavis.
Tony Kemp has 45.
Matt Mervis.
Matt Mervis.
Get out of here.
47. That's
all right.
So bad.
So let's hear your numbers. What are we doing? 0 to 10, 1 to 10. I guess you could do 0, but
of first baseman.
Jose Abreu. Drop
Jose
him in.
Abreu, yes. I think
Yeah.
there's too many options. I think there's too many options to be putting him in your starting lineup. I'm not dropping him, but I'm benching him. So I'm at a 7.
I give it an 8.
I see no reason to hold on to him. I'm a 9.
Oh, you want to get rid? You want to drop him?
Why waste a roster spot when you could pick up free agents off waivers that are going to be much better than him?
Because that guy has the history to be a great first baseman. So I think you still bench him, but you're not starting him. There's Patrick Wisdom, 86% owned. Rowdy Tellez, start him against righties, 80%. Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, Harold Ramirez, Joey Gallo at 47% owned. Spencer Torkelson and
would,
Tristan Casas in the 40s.
Oh, have you seen Costas in May? He's been hot. That's a sneak pickup
Yeah.
right there. Waiver wire pickup right there if you need a
And
first baseman.
Torkelson is kind of under the radar, gotten a little better. He's still hitting to like 233, but he's starting to get a little better. I mean, but I hate to say it, I might want Torkelson over Abreu right now, like, and that's deep. That's a deep league cut.
So rate these three: Brandon Drury, Jose Abreu, and Josh Bell.
I would
Who you starting right now?
Josh Bell.
Yeah, the Bell.
And then
Bell.
who's on your bench, Drury or Abreu?
Start, sit, cut.
Start, sit,
cut.
Isn't there another game like that? I can't think of it. What's it called? You guys help me out here. What's it called?
Start, sit, cut. I'm starting Josh Bell. I'm sitting Brandon Drury, and I'm cutting Jose Abreu.
Oof, he caught him right there. He caught Jose Abreu. There it is.
Yeah, I'm
Tommy,
starting
do you
Bell.
differ?
No, yes, I do. I'm starting Bell, sitting Abreu, and dropping Drury. But Drury shouldn't have been picked up. At least Abreu has a pedigree or history.
I've got the same lineup there as Tommy. I think Abreu will eventually figure it out. He's been in Chicago his whole career. Houston's a new place. He's got how many people yelling at him, cheater! And he's like, I just got here. So
I love that segment though. Start one, sit one, cut one.
Who knows?
That's gonna be a thing.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get busy on Twitter with that one.
Yeah. So all right. I think on this list also we have.
I think I might post that to Twitter. That exact
Start,
thing.
sit, cut.
Yeah.
So let's get into some position players. Let's go shortstop eligibility, second base eligibility. Andres Jimenez.
Jimenez.
Andres Jimenez. Like I said, it's a G.
Andres Jimenez.
We aren't the best at pronouncing names on this podcast.
Andres Jimenez. He's 93% owned. His batting average is 238, only 3 home runs, 29 strikeouts, and 7 stolen bases. Doesn't sound like an awful stat line for a second baseman. Excuse me.
He was an all-star last year.
But since week 1, he has not scored more than 14 points.
I'm not saying he's all-star this year. He's just he's an all-star last year.
The weeks that he's not scored 14, he's scored 6. He has scored 2. He has scored 4.
Yeah, so
that is a drop play. Like if you're not getting me double digits in multiple weeks, get off my roster.
I'm not there with you. I think I'm going to give him like a 4 to 4.5. Reason being, the Guardians are about as cheap as a franchise as it gets next to Oakland and Tampa. And this offseason, they gave him an extension. So something's there. He's not going to just fall off the radar like this. He's still young, unlike Abreu. He's 24 years old. I mean, he's not even his prime yet. I think something's going to click. Will he be another all-star and MVP candidate? No, he will not be. But and his numbers right now are pretty bad. But I have enough faith in him because the Guardians have faith in him to give him money, which they don't do. For that reason alone, I'm going to give him a 4 to 4.5. Probably not starting him. He's on the bench. But I'm
That's
keeping
where
him.
you at.
I'm going to agree with Tommy mostly. I'm going to say 5, but The reason I'm going to say 5 is not singular because of Jimenez. It's going to be because the Cleveland offense is ranked 29 of 30 teams. So it's not
Who's
just him.
30th? Who's 30th? Is
It's
it
going to
the
surprise
A's?
you.
It's
No,
not the A's. It's the Padres.
it's not.
No?
I'll sort this differently, but Colorado is ranked 30th. And
Okay. Not
Because
surprising.
Chris Bryant sucks.
I'll go in terms of weighted runs created plus.
Hey,
We've
Thomas,
talked
do you
about
see
that a
my
lot lately.
my piece of paper back here?
It's too fuzzy. Can't read it. Looking away.
It's Tommy paying me because he was wrong.
$1.
So Cleveland is dead last in weighted runs created plus, right? So even with Jose Ramirez is out, Josh Bell hasn't been great. There's been a lot of people on that team that hasn't contributed. I just feel like Cleveland as a team is a lot better than that. Like they're better offensively than Kansas City and maybe Cincinnati, Washington, Miami. I feel like that team has too many guys that are going to eventually turn it around. And whenever the team goes, I think Jimenez goes. So I'm going to keep it a 5 right now. Bench him if you have to. Find another option, but I don't know that I'm dropping him.
I'm finding another option. I'm dropping him. I don't think you spent too much at the draft for him, and I think you can find other second base eligibility players right now. All right, let's do one more that might be kind of a different type of guy. Jeremy Pena started the year hot just like he did last year and is quietly not running with it.
I'm gonna be honest. I wrote that name and I did zero research on Pena.
Yeah, I was
So Jeremy
surprised to see
Pena
him on the list.
rostered 95%, average of 259, 6 home runs, 6 stolen bases, 41 strikeouts. He's typically batting in the top half of the Astros order. You either lead off or second. For me, the Jeremy Pena is I'm at like a 3 for him. I'm not saying he's must start for what he's been doing the last 3 weeks. Compared to the first 4 weeks, the dude was a must start. These last 3 weeks, he has scored 6, 8, and 9. Of course, this 9 is not over, but he's on the struggle bus right now. And the Astros are hot, so everybody's hot but Jeremy Pena.
Yeah, his numbers right now are almost identical to what they were last year. In some areas, even better. His K rate's better. His ISO's better. His BABIP is barely higher. So I'd just give it time. I feel like his season in numbers are going to look very similar to what they were last year. So,
It's only May.
Yeah, I think in May alone he's hitting 296, 316, 389. That slug's not very good, but his average is good. I think the power will come. I also think he was inflated by his performance in the World Series, the playoffs in general, but specifically the World Series.
Right.
And so there was some recency bias thinking, oh, this guy was a stud. No, he was a stud for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I got a little extra hype. I do think he's a quality player. I think he's more like a borderline top 12 shortstop than a top 6, like the World Series made him out to be. But I agree. I don't think there's any super cause for concern. I'm about a 3 on him right now as well. Probably still starting him. There's probably nothing better out there to go drop and pick up for shortstop than you're going to get with Jeremy Pena right now. So 3 is
he's the 11th scoring shortstop.
Yeah. So you're not going to do better by dropping him unless you've got Matt McClain. That maybe something we talked about last episode. Maybe you want to take that chance, Matt McClain, but I wouldn't at this point.
Can we talk about his jump though? He went in 2019 from high A. 2021, he started in the Florida Complex League and then went straight to AAA. And then 2022 started the season in Houston. That's a pretty aggressive timeline.
He's 25. He's not young.
Houston knew too they needed somebody
Yeah.
to replace Correa.
He was
So
drafted
maybe-
in the 3rd round out of the University of Maine. He was a college guy, so it's not like he was 18 and made this jump. He was 24 at the time, 25 now. So, yeah, aggressive, but it was either them or re-sign Carlos Correa, and both of those have been ugh. So,
yeah. Someone with a similar line in the last 14 days, Javier Baez. Guys hit in the last 14 days, hit 2 home runs, batting .271 with an on base of .327. Rate those last 3 guys for me. Jimenez, Pena, and Baez. Start, sit, cut.
All right, Jimenez, Pena, Baez.
Is that pretty easy?
Oh man,
no, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be.
It's not as easy as it sounds. I feel like Baez, since he got benched, has actually been a lot better. I'm not thrilled about his swing because his swing looks awful, but he makes contact more than he likely should. I don't know, man. I think I probably go. That's tough.
So I like this game, start, sit, cut, but sometimes it contradicts like what I'm going to say. Like, oh, I'll start Pena, but I just got done saying I bench him. In the context of the game, the comparison, it's fun, but sometimes it's hard because I just got done telling you I'm going to cut this guy, and then in the game it's like, but he's the best out of the 3. So,
okay. So
if I had to pick, I would probably go start Baez because of the points in a points league, because of the points he has scored in the last 2 weeks. I sit Pena, cut Jimenez.
There we go.
That hurts to say.
I agree with you, but in protest, I don't like that at all. But in the context of the game, I think that's it.
I'm starting Pena, sitting Baez, and cutting Jimenez. I think Baez has the pedigree. He's shown what he can do. Maybe he just needed to settle down after getting paid.
But let me just rest of season though. Would you rank it the same way? Start, sit, cut.
Yes.
Rest of season.
Yes, I think if we just didn't even play start, sit, cut, and I ranked those 3 rest of the season, I'm going Pena, Baez, and Jimenez is not close for me. He's not on my radar. It's Baez and Pena for me.
I'm the opposite. Rest of season, I would trust Jimenez. I would probably go Pena, Jimenez, Baez.
Okay.
So just a quick recap of some of the names that we probably don't need to roster and they're not worth rostering. Jeremy Pena, Brett Beatty, Nico Horner, Matt Mervis, Gunnar Henderson, Alek Manoah, Nick Lodolo.
Is this guy just listing off my fantasy team?
Yes. If Burns has a player, he's probably not good.
All right, so we're getting into the 35-minute mark here. One guy I wanted to talk about real quick and drop a meter. Aroldis Chapman. The guy is getting saves for the Royals, or not getting saves, but he's pitching 27 strikeouts in 16 innings. He's a trade candidate for the Royals, so he's going to be traded to a good team. Are you holding on to him at this point just for hoping that he gets traded in the next 2 months?
Not in a points league, but in a categories league, you could hold on to it for the ratios. His StatCast is beautiful, beautiful red. He figured something out again, but there's no value in holding on to him for that long in a points league.
Touched like 104 or 105 like 2 days ago.
Yeah, it was all about is Chapman back?
He might be. Get off that dirty, stinky Yankees team.
Yeah, even so,
regardless
of what type of league, man, like I just don't see a reason to have him on your roster right now. The only thing is the ratios that Tommy talked about. Until he gets traded.
Saves plus hold leagues and ratios. I think he can help you out.
He's not even a closer right now.
Yeah, but in save plus holds, he's definitely getting holds.
Yeah, I mean the whole purpose is the Royals are going to trade him, right? Like
Right.
that's the whole purpose that they signed him.
Yeah, but they're not going to trade him for 2 months, so I don't think it's worth the con.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I say I don't. It's
In
not
a points league,
worth
no. In a
rostering.
roto / categories, if you need the ratios, yes. And safe plus hold, yes.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Well, all right. Well, this has been Dropometer. This has been episode 15. Hope you guys enjoyed Dropometer. Let us know what you think if you listened in and said, you know what, I disagree with you guys. Oh, Wes has got one more point. What you got, Wes?
So we're not going to talk about Alek Manoah.
No.
I'm kidding. You can close now.
Everybody knows what to do with him. I don't want to play with you anymore.
I dropped him to my bench.
Go check out the Fantasy Baseball Camp Twitter and Instagram page. There's a pretty hilarious Toy Story face-over video that Burns did. It's beautiful.
So yeah. Anyways, this has been episode 15 of Fantasy Baseball Camp. Dropometer. I think we had a good time here tonight, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening. And we'll catch you guys here on the next episode.